Hey everybody, I'm Lisa Young Sutton, and today's question comes from Coffee with the Fool, who asked, what can I do to make my fall garden a great success this year? And I decided to use my Brazilian dog deck for this question. I am a gardener, and when I think of gardens, I think of telling my dog to get out of the garden. Stop digging in the garden and don't pee on my plants. All right, so anyway, I've already basically shuffled this deck well and have considered this question carefully while doing so, so I'm pretty much ready to go. So I'm just going to draw 3 cards. This is part of the, I don't even know what I'm calling this. It's like the live draw 3-card series. How's that? Okay, so we're just going to draw 3 cards and see what we get. Okay, so I'm going to draw the first one that feels good. It's that one. Oh, and it's a plant. Though I don't think she's planting trees, but okay. And now we, what did I just say? Stop digging in my garden. There's the dog digging in the garden. So that's the clover. Okay, so we have the tree and the clover, and now. Wait a minute. Okay, and now we got the ways. Did I not just say, stop digging in my garden and don't pee on my plants? Yeah, I do believe I just said that. Okay, anyway. And this is how it goes with the cards. Yes. Okay, now the first thing I can say from looking at the tree, the clover, and the ways is that now is the time to plant if you want a fall garden. It is mid-July, so now is the time. That's the clover, right? The tree says that the garden, okay, I'm also seeing an essence of timing here, right? Like I just said, now is the time to plant, and I'm saying that because the tree is something that takes a long time to root, right? And the clover is saying now is the time to grab an opportunity. And of course the ways, when near, is saying now is the time to make a decision. So all of that is saying now is the time to plant the garden. All right. Now as I scan these cards again, I'm seeing that the tree is also about shade and roots. And the clover can indicate weeds or herbs. It's not just the card of herb, it's the card of herbs, right? The ways is about choices, options, and alternatives, right? So this is going to suggest or touch on the topic of which plants to choose. And which plants go where, right? Like when you think of the ways card, in fact, in most decks it shows like just a path through the countryside, right? And it veers off in one of 2 directions. It kind of makes me think of rows in a garden. But it's also the decision of which plants should be sown or can be sown from seed at this late date, and which need to be transplanted from, plants already started that you buy, or that you already had started and you have them in pots, right? So we're going to consider all these things. So as I said, the tree is about shade and roots. So shade is making me think of sunlight, how much shade, how much sun, right? And with a fall garden, the days are getting shorter, right? So sunlight is more of an issue when you're starting plants. And you also have to position the plants for optimal exposure. The plants that need the most light should be given the sunniest spots, and that includes your roots, your root vegetables and fruiting plants. Whereas your delicate greens are fine with partial shade. So that you want to plan the positions of the plants accordingly. And regarding roots, remember that your summer plants took nutrients from the soil, right? So you want to amend the soil with compost or natural fertilizers. Yeah, so I'm seeing all that from shade and roots. And then we already discussed the issue of time, right? So that's all coming from that card. Well, you know, all three together, but I'm looking at them one at a time. But I already looked at them as a collective whole, you know. So now we're looking at the clover, and as I said, it can relate to weeds, right? So as an organic gardener, I remove all the weeds from the summer garden before replanting. But I also leave the roots, we're back to the roots now, but I leave the roots of the harvested summer plants to decay and feed the soil, all right? And I then chop up the spent plant material and mix it into the soil as compost, right? So we're back to the roots, but you know, just giving you things as they come to me. Oh, and roots, okay, need water, right? Okay, so regarding roots, you're not just talking about the nutrients in the soil, you're talking about the amount of water. Now think about this. When you transplant, you know, or plant a garden in the middle of the summer, the soil is already very warm and the days are already very long, which means you need to water more than you did when you started your spring garden when the soil was cool and the days were shorter, all right? So you need to water more. You're probably going to need to water at least twice a day. Now, all of that information came to me by considering all of the decisions, right? That's your final card that you know, a gardener needs to make in order to have a successful fall garden. And, you know, I have to say, too, that because I'm a gardener, I was able to extrapolate all of that information from these three cards. Just by having them point me in the right direction, right? These cards all triggered a knowing within me. Now, if I knew nothing about gardening and someone asked me this question, would I only lay 3 cards? Absolutely not, because I would need more cards to explain what they're trying to say if I had you know, no prior knowledge of this topic. All right. So that's today's lesson. There you go. The Petit Lenormand has spoken. I hope that was helpful for your fall garden. And thanks for watching. Now go plant your garden and then go play with your cards. Bye, everybody.